Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at Yveltal in the Open Master League. This Pokemon now has its new move Oblivion Wing, which we can now finally try out, as you're going to be able to get this even with an Elite TM now, which is kinda nice. Of course, I would have had access earlier on because I was at the Go Fest in London, but you were still not able to Elite TM Pokemon. I checked it out there. You were not able to get this through an Elite TM. I didn't want to build a new one because I didn't really get good IVs. So, today we're going to take a look at Yveltal, but since Yveltal was released, I was actually kinda curious on how good Gust would be on this Pokemon. So, today we're going to finally find out about that one, because everybody is using Snarl, but is everybody wrong? Is Gust maybe even a better move? Gust is actually a fairly interesting move. It's a confusion clone, so you're going to do a ton of damage, also generate energy fairly fast, but therefore you're going to have to wait 4 turns, which is kinda awkward. So definitely more a move that can farm down opponents, which can be very interesting, as you might even see here in the first game already. As you're also going to run the double Iron Bash Melmetal here today, which is also an interesting Pokemon for the Master League, fairly achievable. We're going to talk a little bit about Melmetal as well later on, because there are going to be some scenarios most likely coming up where this makes, yeah, for example, yeah, this is something that Melmetal really does not want to face. The thing is, Melmetal kinda really would like to have 3 charge moves. Melmetal kinda needs the coverage of all of them, so it's kinda awkward. For this team, definitely double Iron Bash helps out quite a bit with the Fairy type weakness that we have in the back there. We have a Dragon Tail user in Lugia, and we're going to have a Dark type in the back there, which at least is not as weak against Fairy type now, because you're going to have the fast move of Gust compared to Snarl, which we usually would have. But still, of course, the defensive typing is not really there. So, for Melmetal, I honestly would say it's still even better to go for Rock Slide over double Iron Bash. If you don't have a double Iron Bash Melmetal build, I wouldn't really go for it right now. I honestly am surprised that they made it a cross-chop clone. I feel like you could have definitely made it like a Body Slam clone or anything like this, because, I don't know, it would have not been too overpowered for sure. This Pokemon kinda needs even a little bit more of a buff for this move to be nice, and I think right now the most common charge move on this is still Rock Slide and Superpower, and for Melmetal, getting this move basically through a paid event before, it's kinda awkward, isn't it? Like, honestly, I feel like Melmetal kinda got screwed over by Niantic, which is not surprising. But here we were actually able to make a great catch onto the Brave Bird of Ho-Oh, which is going to make this game a little bit closer at least. But sadly, we're going to encounter Kyogre here again. A scenario where Rock Slide would have been nice. So now we have to go for a Superpower, which is going to debuff us, but my opponent goes straight for a charge move, which is just really nice here, as well as we can go ahead and go for the Oblivion Wing, and we can now knock them out with this one. But can we still knock out the Ho-Oh in time? Let's find out. We can, thanks to our fast move damage, which is kinda cool. So actually Gust is doing something here, which is really nice to see. Otherwise, we will find out now how this matchup against the Metagross is gonna go, which is going to be a little bit of an awkward one as well. We can go for a Superpower, and I'm a little bit... yeah, I made a little bit of a mistake here. I was like thinking I can easily go for another charge move here, and then maybe even go for some fast moves, because they're mostly not gonna throw immediately, because they know I'm out of energy. They threw immediately. I'm forced to use a shield here, but at least you're gonna get them super low. I can overfarm by a little bit now, and I can go into my Lugia, which will be able to take any kind of charge move here. Even if it's going to be neutral, like the Media Mash, it still doesn't do too much damage, and I can now just go ahead and go for a full farm run against the opponent's Metagross. In comes a Palkia, not ideal for us. And I can at least go ahead and go for an Aeroblast. I'm fairly certain I wouldn't have got to another charge move here. Yes, that was definitely the right call then to go for Aeroblast. But it's a little bit of an awkward one, because we don't really want to face it with my backline either. And we will be able to go for another Superpower here right now, and I will be able to catch the move onto our Yveltal, which is going to be the Aqua Tail, and we can even take another charge move here, which is going to be also the Aqua Tail. So Palkia basically is gone. The Pokemon before is basically gone, and now it only depends on what they're going to have in the back here. And it's going to be a Melmetal, and like this game is kinda over, because I don't have Focus Blast on this Pokemon, because Focus Blast doesn't make sense with Gust, because he's never gonna get there. And it's a little bit awkward. I'm forced to use a shield here, and I'm forced to swap out. I expect the opponent to swap out as well, and I go for the double Iron Bash. At this point of time, I thought the opponent still had a shield left, but then I realized they don't. Why did I do this? It doesn't make sense, but at least I will be able now to go ahead and get another charge move off, but this was a huge misplay by me. I could have just went for double Superpower and the opponent would have been gone. But then they misplay and just swap in their Metagross and give me free energy instead of going for a charge move with their own Melmetal. So, I don't know what's really happening here, what we're going to be able to win this game, which is, I guess, the best result that we could ask for. Great lead for us. We're going to have a Dialga against us here right now, which is going to be interesting. We can go for the superpower, but I'm gonna go ahead and go for the double Iron Bash first, just so I don't debuff myself. And the opponent is not going to fall for it. And I'm going to let this move go through. It might be a Draco Meteor, it will be an Iron Head, so we're going to be able to survive it. I can go for another superpower this time around, which is going to do some decent damage, and we can go for another one immediately afterwards, which will force the shield or the knockout. We're gonna get actually the knockout in the lead, and we can swap out now, getting out the Mewtwo of the opponent, which is going to be very good for us, as Mewtwo is a Pokemon that we can deal fairly well with our backline, but they're actually going to have Ice Beam, a move that's going to hit both my Pokemon in the back. Usually they run Shadow Ball, which would not hit the Yveltal at all, but Ice Beam is going to cover for the flying type of our Pokemon in the back, so it's going to be a little bit of an awkward one here right now. But we're going to encounter now the Lugia of the opponent. This is going to go for Aero Blast here as well. We are forced to let this move go through, and at this point of time I feel like most likely I'm going to be just able to just go into my Melmetal here, farm up a lot of energy, as the opponent only can go for a Sky Attack, try to get them low, try to get them into a range where I can just Gust down everything. And this is actually the beauty of Gust. Gust is going to be able to do so much fast move damage on this Pokemon, which is really nice in certain scenarios, but in general I have to say, after using Gust as well, Snarl is definitely better. Snarl is for sure better compared to Gust, just because Snarl is going to generate your energy faster. And there are a lot of Pokemon that resist Gust, sadly. There are like Zekrom, there's Dialga, there are all the other Steel types like Excadrill, like Melmetal that we have on our own team. So there are a lot of options where it's like really awkward. Speaking of really awkward, let's take a look here at Groudon in the lead. This is not ideal for us at all, but we can still go ahead and go for a superpower. This superpower will do some decent damage, and I'm going to try to swap onto a charge move, which did not work out. And of course, we're gonna get kinda hard-walled here. Xerneas is always going to win this match up against our Lugia, as Xerneas is going to be able to resist the fast move, as they're gonna go for the Moonblast, and of course, it gets even worse here by getting the attack drop. It's just, honestly, everything is just going against me here right now. Attack drop, 10% chance of course from Moonblast. Yes, it's going to happen eventually, but I would have liked it if it wouldn't happen here right now, but now the opponent going to be able to just go ahead and go for the knockout here against me, Moonblast coming through. They still have their Groudon in the back. I expect the opponent to swap out into the Groudon eventually here right now. And let's take a look here what they're gonna do. No, they're actually gonna stay in here. I'm going to shield this move up. I'm just waiting for them to swap, so I'm going to take a look here. You saw me like staying still for a little bit because I expected them to swap, but they didn't swap, and I was like, what is happening here right now? So I'm going to swap immediately, and I'm going to be able to catch a move here. Hopefully it's going to be the pressure display. They go for Fire Punch, and they're going to have the hardest answer in the back again, like with Dialga, which does not take damage from Gust. Nothing I can do. Like, honestly, it was complete hard counter from the get-go. I might have been even able to flip switch if I want, like if I didn't get the attack drop as well in Broguiere, and if I would have hit a charge move, my opponent most likely would have prevented it anyway, but there was nothing I can do. Like, we had literally the worst possible matchup that I could imagine for this team. So yeah, those teams always going to happen. Here we're going to actually encounter another Melmetal. Funny thing about this, actually, before I was like, there's basically no one running Melmetal, and when I played this team for like 4 sets, so you don't gonna see all the battles that I have with this team. I encountered like 5 Melmetal in the first 10 games and was like, man, I thought Melmetal was rare. At least the last time it was rare. You see me also a little bit on lower elo. You already saw the video for the highest attack team recently. This video definitely tanked my elo by around 600-700 points, which is kinda showing how bad no bulk teams are, of course, but yeah, that's basically why that's the case. But here we're going to have now the Yveltal against Yveltal matchup, which is kind of funny. But we're going to be able to let the move go through here against our Yveltal from the Melmetal. It's going to be the Rock Slide, and I can just keep on move. And also, I can now catch a Rock Slide onto my own Melmetal. Or at least that's what I thought. Why did they go for Superpower? I guess because they get their one fast move early? I don't know, honestly, I don't know. But I'm going to now be able to just hopefully sweep endgame with Yveltal. We're already going to be able to farm down the opponent's Melmetal here, so we're gonna get the first KO against the opponent. Let's see what's coming in next. It's going to be the opponent's Yveltal, where you can get the second KO, as we're going to be able to win the CMP tie here and knock them out. And now it's just a Lugia in the back. Can Yveltal win the entire game? Let's find out. Dark Pulse is not doing enough damage. This is just barely below what would be enough to knock them out with 2 moves, but we get a lot of damage with Gust in, which is really important, as now you will be able to finish up this Lugia and we can win this game. Let's find out what the next game is going to be. We're going to have a Xerneas in the lead. Fairly decent lead. it should be way better for me than it actually is, which is kind of wild. We're going to have our stab, a double Iron Bash, which literally does next to no damage, because for whatever reason they made it a cross-chop clone, and cross-chop is not nice. Cross-chop is only really used from Machamp and only from Shadow Machamp, because it's always gonna do a lot of damage anyway because of the high attack stat, but the move itself is very bad, and the same goes kind of for double Iron Bash. Would be really cool to have a very good variant of this move. I hope that they buff it in the future, like give it like 60 damage or something. I would really appreciate it, because right now, in my opinion, one of the worst or like weakest signature moves ever for a Pokemon right now, for Legendary especially, or like Mythical, so it's a little bit of a trickier one. Here we're going to actually encounter Groudon, which we're going to be able to farm down eventually, but no, they're going to swap out now into the Dialga, where we can still go for an Aeroblast, at least I thought, but they can knock me out, but I don't want them to knock me out, and I kind of want them to think that I'm going to go ahead and go for the bait here, so I'm going to go for, or not for the bait here, I wanted them to shield, but they didn't shield. Now I have to go for the bait against the opponent with my Melmetal, can go ahead, go for the double Iron Bash, and now I try to go for 2 superpowers, but oh, actually we can still get this one off. Can we get the second one off though? That's the question. They're going to shield this one up, and I can still get another one off, which is going to be amazing for me. I'm going to try to go for a full farm down here now with my Lugia, but the opponent is going to be able to knock me out. Can Yveltal do it again? Can Yveltal sweep an entire team? First knockout. Let's see what comes in next. The Xerneas comes in here right now, and I get the extra fast move in here, which is kind of nice. And I can use a shield here against the opponent, which is going to be a close combat. I can try to go for the full farm down. They're going to swap out into the Groudon, and this is game. There is nothing they can do anymore. This Oblivion Ring gonna obliterate them, and we can now move on into the second to last game for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, by the way, feel free to leave a like on the video. Helps out quite a bit, and also if you're new to the channel, if you enjoyed the content, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. We're getting closer and closer to the 60k, which is really nice. What is also really nice is this catch by the opponent, but I of course predicted it and didn't go for the bait move anyway, with the double Iron Bash doing some decent damage against them. But what I can do here right now, which is the cool thing about double Iron Bash, which Rockside literally would have done as well, we will be able to get some nice damage onto the opponent. And also, this is something that happened for me all the time. I was able to catch a superpower onto my Lugia. The amount of superpowers I either catched from Melmetal or from Landorus on my Lugia was insane. At least like 4 or 5 times happened in like 20 games, which is kind of wild. So here, we're going to be able to go for the Aero Blast. This is going to get the shield from the opponent, and we're gonna get the attack boost, which does not really matter too much, but I guess we're gonna put them into range for 1 superpower, but they're already 2 shields down. We are going to let this move go through, as it's a guaranteed Iron Head here from the opponent. I expect them to swap out eventually, so I'm going to overfarm by a little bit though, but I can still go ahead and go for the superpower, knocking out the opponent's Dialga, and I swap out immediately just to face a Rayquaza. Can Yveltal sweep endgame again with Gust? Let's find out. The Breaking Swipe comes through, going to do some decent damage here, but in comes now the Landorus. They tried to catch a move again, and it did not work out for them. So we're gonna be able to go ahead for an Oblivion Ring here right now. Gonna do a ton of damage against the Rayquaza, and the Breaking Swipe comes through, gonna debuff me even further, but another Oblivion Ring is coming their way, and we can say goodbye to that Rayquaza, and we can say good game to the opponent, as it's going to be a victory. Let's find out what the final game going to be like. We're going to have a Mewtwo in the lead, something that I don't really like to face, but I'm going to swap out immediately in order to try to get out a potential Steel type. And in comes a potential Steel type. We're going to have here the Dialga against us, which is going to be amazing to get this Pokemon out of the way, as our Gust variant at least doesn't want to face this Pokemon here. So we're gonna see actually the Iron Head coming through in time, which is very nice for us because we're gonna get rid of some energy from the opponent, but we will be even able to go ahead and go for another double Iron Bash. This move is going to do a ton of damage against the opponent here, and gonna put them into farm down range, but just barely missing out here, as they gonna still hit the Dracomedia. So far, not so good to be fair, as they can't try to swap out here now into our Yveltal, getting out the Lugia. They have 2 Psychic type Pokemon. Snarl would have been amazing here right now, and I make another huge mistake. I went for way too many fast moves, because now I'm gonna go for an extra one, and now I basically got next to no energy from my fast move, so this was a huge mistake by me. But we're gonna get them actually into range for just one charge move. And this is where actually Gust comes in clutch, as you're going to be able to go for one Dark Pulse here against the opponent. This will be amazing, as now we can even swap out, go for a charge move against the opponent here right now with our Melmetal, gonna put them into range for one charge move with my Yveltal. But what you're going to see me doing here right now is trying to get the Mewtwo in a range where I can farm them down with Gust, while still maintaining enough health that I will be able to get enough energy for the charge move against the Lugia. And this worked out so well, as we're now going to be able to go for a double Gust, and this is exactly the energy we needed, and we win the CMP tie, which wasn't even a CMP tie, and we're going to be able to win this final game. So, Gust was actually a lot of fun, to be fair. Like, I actually won a lot of games with this one. Snarl, still the better fast move, but Oblivion Wing, cool addition to the moveset. Gust was even more fun to play. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to watch also the next video that you see on the screen right now. So, see you then. Bye bye.